He wasn't shot. He didn't win. And yes, he's on the list. Hi, I'm Darren Monroe. I used to work on Kamala Harris's campaign. I'm one of 30,000 people who are part of the engagement team. I also have 30 years marketing and branding experience for Universal DreamWorks MCA, as well as iHeartMedia, marketed $6 billion worth of films, and did a lot of marketing for Jay-Z, Eminem, Limp Bizkit, Nelly Furtado, The Roots, and 200 of the most famous people in the world for them in this market, the Chicago market. 20 years ago, I was working at iHeartMedia in New Orleans, and a hurricane called Katrina showed up, and I had to break up out of there. I'm allergic to dying, y'all. So here's the deal. What we're going to talk about is how the GOP is dying and how to continue to keep them in their grave, okay? So first of all, I want to break down something for a minute. This is sponsored by my Clarity Group. Get in my Clarity Group. There are things I cannot say on social media because they're afraid of letting us say the truth on social media because of Donald Trump. Please get in my group. The link is in the description or it's on the homepage. If you go to the homepage of YouTube, you can see my link. If you go to the description of this video, you can see my link. Every now and then, I always give somebody, I don't know where the Clarity Group is at. Very simple. Go to the homepage of YouTube and you will see links in there on the homepage. Click it, go through, and get it now before the price doubles. Listen, we need to talk about what's happening with the GOP. There's two different civil wars. And in the previous video, you want to binge watch all my content, by the way, here, but you'll really love me in the Clarity Group. Here's the thing. There are two different types of civil wars happening. There's 5 total, okay? One is judicial, one among the wealthy. Yes, the wealthy, I broke it down in the last video. You want to look at my last video. And one that is among the military that's happening, especially now with all these deployments and troops. And I'm here in Chicago. It's about to be on and popping. But there are two I want to talk about right here, and that is the Republican and the Democrat. If the Democrats can get over themselves with their issues, we could win 26, 28. It could be a sweep, a wave, and destroy the GOP. So let's talk about the Republican Civil War. Right now, you got Elon, who's making nice, but he ain't feeling them. So his ability to steal the you-know-what again ain't about to happen. I have a report I talked about how they stole the you-know-what and what the Democratic Party was not doing about it that you probably never heard discussed ever. It's on the back end of my Clarity Group. Here's the thing. I want to tell you the Republicans lost major ally there, right? Then they got this Epstein thing that is haunting the crap out of them. And you see what they just did? They released all of that information, and 95% of it was the same they had out in the public anyway. And big shout out to Garcia, who's on the oversight committee, because he really is trying. I'll give him that. You know, a lot of people been on his butt about stuff because we wanted Jasmine, and before that we wanted AOC. It's like, no, it's good. He's doing well. He's trying. He really is trying to do this. And he called them out. He called out the House. He called out the White House. He called out the DOJ. All three are trying to stonewall his butt over Epstein. Biggest mistake they could have ever made. Biggest mistake. Everybody knows they're covering up. I told you weeks, actually months ago, that they would never release the actual Epstein files. It's not happening. It's not happening. They got too much on at risk. They trying to cover up. So you got that. Then you have the fact that the big, beautiful bill is going to hurt all those red states. Red states are the ones who depend the most on Medicaid, Medicare, Affordable Care Act, the SNAP benefits. The poorest states in America are red, not blue. So here he is, you know, cutting off all of this money to save money for billionaires. It's not a good look, especially going into the midterms. There's going to be a blue wave. And what Elon did this year to our departments and cut all those people, fired tens of thousands of people in jobs, that didn't sit well even with the Republican MAGA people. And then you dragging them out their town halls saying, oh, they're Republicans, they're paid. No, they're Democrats, paid Democrats. And we're like, no, that ain't what we do. They know their own groups. They know their own people. They know darn well those weren't Republicans, especially since these were local people who knew each other. So it's like they've screwed up. The GOP in trouble, and they're dying. And the only way we can put them into their grave and keep them losing, keep them down, is the Democratic Party needs to get the fuck over itself. Yeah, I said it. We do. And here's what I mean by that. One, we need to stop pushing back progressives and let them come forward and lead with a progressive agenda, especially after all the cuts these people have done. We need to go further left, not further right. Two, we need to get these old motherfuckers out of here. Enough is said. Listen, I'm 55, and I'm telling you right now, I voted. My Congress people are Duckworth, Durbin, and Davis. Tammy Duckworth, you know the soldier, she lost her legs. You can't forget her. She's the first Thai senator in the U.S., and she's badass. She's really great. Dick Durbin, who's retiring after this era, and honestly, Dick Durbin is one of the 10 senators who voted with Schumer, or 9 senators that voted with Schumer over the early rounds of the big, beautiful bill. Got a problem with him, and he's too freaking old in his 80s. He's got to let go. They're too busy trying to hold on to a bag. That's what that is. And then the third person is Danny Davis. Danny Davis is older than Biden, man. This is ridiculous. These old-ass men and women got to let go. Pelosi, too. But Davis, what pissed me off about him is he had some great candidates. I voted in the primary for somebody else. This man don't need to be doing that. And they need to stop this bullshit. And these older crowds need to stop supporting this bullshit and voting for them. They need to stop. Game over. Stop. 80s? Come on, man. Come on, man. I see if you said 60s. Maybe 70s, but 80s, fuck, no. So here's the thing. Stop with this age thing that's going on. We got to stop with Pelosi blocking AOC. We got to stop with Jeffries blocking Jasmine. You know, that's just crazy. Then what we have to do is address the upper ticket, down ticket. I got a problem with Act Blue and the rest of them on the national level because they're not getting the money. It's been said that they're not getting the money down to the down ticket, or that they're pulling money at times. You know, if you sound too progressive, like that guy over in Minnesota, they're pulling money away from people who get too progressive, and I'm uncomfortable with that. I'm uncomfortable with that. That's crazy. Why give money through these systems if they're not making sure they're getting the money? I feel like that. And I could be wrong, but I'm just saying, I got real weird vibes about that. I'd rather find a way to get their money directly. A perfect example was Yolanda Jones. Remember Yolanda Jones? I forget if it was Jones or Johnson. Forgive me, sister. Basically, she's the Texas state representative, right? I believe it was Yolanda Jones, but she basically is over in Houston, and she was one of the people who ran off to Chicago away from, or somewhere away, so they could fight the gerrymandering in Texas. And I hit her up via DMs on social media, and they said Act Blue, and I was like, ugh. You know, because I don't know if they're actually getting the money on the Act Blue. If they ain't, you know, I got problems with that. There's an issue with the upper ticket, down ticket. There's an issue with age, and there's an issue with ideology. But the final part that they got to address is this issue with prejudice, racism, misogyny, homophobia, and xenophobia in the Democratic Party on the left. Stop saying that Trump won because of the economy. Any votes he got legitimately, I ain't gonna talk about the math not mathing because social media too afraid to talk about that. In my Clarity group, I got a whole report on it. You want to see that. But here, because there's some real shit that nobody publicly is talking about that I'm revealing in there. And what I want you to understand is that in this case, what's going on here that we're witnessing is people who denied The fact that the reason many millions of people either sat on the couch or voted for Trump is because they didn't like the black Indian woman married to the Jew. Call it what it is. Call it what it is. Stop playing. Stop playing. We've had enough of this crap. We're going to have to out it and talk about it. There were people who wanted primaries, like Pelosi. Even Hunter Biden put Pelosi out about that. Like, there were people who wanted, Pelosi included, wanted Kamala Harris to be the primary, wanted to be primary. Now, why would you want that woman to be primary? She did an excellent job as vice president. She's more than qualified. Why would you want another woman to be primary before going with her? You don't trust her ability to show up? That's jacked up, as another woman particularly. But we know what's going on. Again, prejudice, racism, misogyny, homophobia, xenophobia. And it's jacked up. The only way we're going to put them in the grave is if they can stand up and begin, the Democratic Party can stand up and begin to change themselves from within. Yeah, they're going to get a lot of votes for the 26 and 28. But if they don't go real and raw with it, it's going to be a problem. It's going to be a major, major problem. And we need to start addressing that. We need to start talking about that shit. We need to get there. We need to get there quick. Because if they don't, if they want to get the traditionalists and control power, and here's what's sad, and it's the truth, that the Democrats, traditionalists, would rather see the whole thing burn down before they give up power. And we're going to have to take it from them. We're going to have a movement. Just like MAGA took over Republicans, we're going to have a progressive movement and take this down. That's the only way it's going down, y'all. So I want you to stay tight. I definitely want you to binge watch my content. And I definitely want you to get my Clarity group, because this is something you want to be involved with. You know, click in the link, understand not only the actions you should take, but how you're going to have a greater peace of mind understanding what's really going on. That's what I teach in the Clarity group. Get on in there. And by the way, make sure you look at this next video I got coming up.